I lost all my notes, but I found them now. So let's go. On this week's episode, we break down Disney's Investor Day. The crew from Mass Effect Adventum stop by, and we share final thoughts on the Game Awards. All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, or do whatever you can to support us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, the Lakers Fast Break, or Game Source, it is truly appreciated. Plus, if you can also stop by if you are interested and are able in your state to play daily fantasy sports, go ahead and stop by our new friends at thrivefantasy.com or Thrive Fantasy on your mobile app or the Google App Store. You can just go ahead and download it right away. What we'll do for you is if you type in the code LFB on your first deposit, as long as it's $20 or more, Thrive Fantasy will match it dollar for dollar up to $50. That's right. They'll match it up to $50 if you type in the code LFB. So if you're into Major League Baseball, the NFL, which is in week 14 right now, NBA, PGA, or esports, you get to pick your favorite people that you want to go for right there each and every day. That's daily fantasy sports that's available now, sports betting, right now at Thrive Fantasy. Please go ahead and use the code LFB on checkout, and you go ahead and hopefully be a great winner today. All right, there's so much to talk about on today's show, but it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is still joshing around each and every time for us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to check out what he's doing today at popculturecosmos.com. His great book, Congratulations, You Suck, which you can still get on Amazon and Barnes & Noble for a great holiday gift, plus his shows Topicocalypse and the Super BS Gamescast. It is my good friend indeed. It is Josh Peterson. And Josh, thanks for coming back on the show one more time.
Be back. And grab that copy. Congratulations, You Suck. Shove it in those stockings. Shove it in that hot chocolate when you're decorating the tree. Put it on that Christmas train. Hang it outside by the lights. Just get as many copies as you can and just give it to everybody.
What if I get it for Kindle?
Then I don't know. I have nothing prepared for that.
That's what I thought. Thought I'd throw you off there.
I mean, if it's a Kindle Oasis, you're fine. Then, at that point, it's waterproof, right?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, just decorate the house with them. We're good.
There you go, indeed. Also with us as well is a good man. He's here especially because we've got some big things to talk about today when it concerns Disney. He is the man indeed from Castle FPV. At Castle FPV on the Twitter and Instagram. It is the man indeed, the guy who hosts with me the PC Multiverse. It is Marcus De La Garza. And Marcus, thanks for coming on today's show because we're here today to talk a lot of Disney.
We had so much that we couldn't cover on the Friday show, so I had to make sure I came back so that we could all discuss it together. I feel like our joint episodes are some of my favorites, at least, so looking forward to this one.
There's some of my favorites as well. And again, I truly appreciate everybody watching and listening out there. Big shout out to Tina Marie Trimpert, who's giving us a shout out right now. Cannot thank you enough for watching. Indie Pods United. She's hard at work with the entire crew for Indie Pods United 2021. So stay tuned for some great announcements in the coming months and weeks and days for Indie Pods United. So please check that out, indiepodsunited.com. Well, I'll tell you right now, we're going to go ahead into a deep dive on this episode for the Disney Investor Day 2020 that just happened. We're going to be talking a whole bunch when it comes to Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and so much more. So we're going to share our thoughts on that. plus also the great crew of Mass Effect Adventum. They're going to stop by here and talk some great things about their show. So I truly appreciate them stopping by. That's Naeem Stewart, Emily Jacobson, and Bert Jennings. They took an opportunity to stop by, so I'm going to talk to them here on the back half of the hour. And then we're going to close out the show with some thoughts on the Game Awards, including finally an official reveal for the next Mass Effect. Speaking of Mass Effect, it's going to be a Disney on the front half and Mass Effect on the other. But we're going to be talking about a lot of things today that's pop culture related, because Disney did drop basically an info bomb the other night on Thursday. Just wave after wave of information on things that they had not previously talked about and some things that they had. So we're going to go ahead and break it down real quick. And guys, I want you to go ahead and keep on the line, to feel free to interrupt me, because I'm just going to be reading off this massive Excel spreadsheet. I took a lot of time in going back and bringing up the latest news and information that was. First thing, I do want to say again, I want to pat myself on the back because of Disney's plan outside the U.S., which I hope they will bring inside the U.S. with their Star and Hotstar networks, their outings, basically combining in a lot of areas outside the country of the best of Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN all in one nature. This is something I've asked for a long time, and I understand it's not yet going to be available in the U.S., but I think, as you and I talked about, Marcus, that this is going to be the future of the way eventually that Disney will go ahead and present its programming.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the real big push here to really future-proof yourself with out of Disney and really push the international market towards that heavy streaming presence. Josh, I'm really interested to hear your take on this Disney Star and Disney Star Plus. Star Plus will be in Latin America in June 2021, but this is something that's really cool. I'm with Gerald. I'm really excited to see when it comes here, how it's going to roll out, how it's received. But I mean, to have everything and kind of in one location really speaks volumes to me, at least.
It does to me as well. Josh, did you get a chance to see that part of the presentation when it concerns the Star networks, the Hotstar planning, and basically the programming that they're going to be doing, something which I've talked about, that's going to be an eventuality of Disney going into one combined format. I know they don't own all of Hulu, but I have a feeling that the next step is buying Hulu outright and then just going ahead with that type of programming.
So, okay, I'm reading about this now. So this is this, you go into Disney Plus and you have the option to access Hulu and ESPN, or is this everything's just merged into Disney? Is that what that is?
It's basically merged into it. Basically, they created networks that are going to be streamed for, it's going to be sent outside the U.S. This is for areas like India. This is for areas like South America. These are going to be the combinations of not only local programming to those areas, but also as well, they're going to be combining. You'll see things from FX. You'll see things from Hulu. You'll see things from Disney Plus. You'll see things, basically ESPN. You'll see, basically, you will get the best of all these worlds combined into one platform. Like I said, like I've been asking.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes things more convenient. I'm curious how it's going to work, because like they're saying that they're going to have local programming on there too. Like, is this a TV network we're talking about, or is
Yep. Essentially, it's a streaming network that's going to be showing not only live but pre-recorded programming.
Okay, so you can't go in there. I'm trying to like understand it. You can't go in there and access it the way you would Disney Plus, right? We get to select your show instead.
Oh yeah, you can.
Oh,
yeah, you will be able to. And actually, there will also be, and they went through the process of making sure that it's age appropriate as well by going ahead with password protection and things of that nature. So if somebody's concerned about their Disney Plus programming and want to go ahead and access FX programming for, that they don't want the kids to see, then they'll go ahead and make sure that they have that locked out for the kids, from the kids as well. So
that's really, I mean, I missed that part of the announcements, but I mean, that's really cool because,
well, the announcement, the whole Investors Day was over 3.5 hours. So
I got overwhelmed.
It went on for a while, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was overwhelmed with all the stuff that kept popping up on the internet about it, but in regards to Disney Star, I think it's called, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
basically just the Star Network.
Yeah.
They won't put it on there because Disney is just one part of the equation of the Star Network. Yes.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this is what I've always enjoyed about Amazon Prime, right? You go to the app, whether it's on your Xbox, your PlayStation, your computer, phone.
Yep.
They have access to all these different stations that if you're subscribed to, you can watch content through Amazon. So say you have your HBO account and it's linked to your Amazon account, you could watch HBO shows via Amazon. You don't have to go to a bunch of different apps to watch things because they're all in the same place. And if this is anything like that, then yeah, I mean that's awesome because it saves you the hassle of having to open up multiple apps to go to things. You can kind of watch everything from one main hub. And I think that's a great idea.
I tell you what, it's something that I think is going to be an eventuality for the entire spectrum of Disney. I think it's something that'll eventually go to throughout the entire world, including the U.S. I think it's just a natural thing because we saw the numbers for Hulu, we saw the numbers for Disney, and we saw the numbers for ESPN. While ESPN Plus and Disney Plus is really doing well, in fact, almost exceeding expectations on both of those two outlets. Hulu, as Marcus pointed out, they're 12 years and they still haven't even gotten to 40 million subscribers. And they unfortunately did not hit that window. I think it's going to be an eventuality that they just buy out Hulu entirely because they only own 60%, but they buy out Hulu entirely and go ahead to that type of format. But again, that's something for the big picture going forward. I wanted to go ahead and discuss that with the guys real quick. But on to the big stuff. And that is the mentions of all the different projects that are out there in Disney World. Now, actually, they didn't even mention all of them. They said they had stuff under wraps that they didn't announce, like Deadpool 3. They didn't announce Deadpool 3 yet. I was kind of disappointed on that. But you know what? There's still a lot more that they talked about on the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead in order, and you guys just stop me. All right. So because I'm looking at an Excel spreadsheet right here that I put out that I made last night. So stop me on this if you guys want to talk about. First and foremost, one of the latest animated hits on the horizon for Disney. That is Raya and the Last Dragon. Raya and the Last Dragon is coming day and date to Disney Plus. But Josh and Marcus, it is only going to be premium access only initially. It's going to follow a similar path as we saw for Mulan. A kind of a weird thing to do because Soul is not following that same path, and that's a Pixar movie. This is a Disney Animation Studios movie, but it's following a premium access. Yay or nay? Good idea or bad one after what Warner Brothers just announced with its entire slate of 2021 movies?
I think it's not a great idea. Honestly, I don't regret watching Mulan, but I feel dumb having paid what is like $20 for it. $30. Yeah, I don't regret watching it, but I feel dumb having to have paid that. And I know if I go on HBO Max on December 23rd, I will be able to watch Wonder Woman without having to pay anything extra.
The same here. I'm just waiting for that. Marcus, any thoughts on it? Because I thought it was a misstep by Disney, especially the fact that Warner Brothers just a few days before announced that everything was going free, the same, for basically essentially the subscription price day in, day out of the actual release date.
Yeah, I think it's a miss. Disney also announced that they were going to be upping the price of Disney Plus domestically by $1, I believe, sometime around March. It feels like we're starting to get into a little bit of a money grab here, and maybe this wasn't the right one to try and do this with. But I mean, regardless, I'm with you guys. I think this is a miss. I do feel as though, and I wasn't one of those people that paid for Mulan. I waited for it to come out, and so I do feel for the people that did pay because I feel like a lot of those people came back to me and said, "Oh man, I really should have just waited." So
I really should have just waited as well. My entire family had said, we really just should have waited as well. And I will tell you what, it was something that I think Disney did not learn from the first time around. I mean, obviously they had enough success money-wise and financial-wise to go ahead and do this again, but after the announcement from Warner Brothers, it probably isn't the best thing in mind, especially the fact that the movie is not outstanding when it comes out. I still looking forward to the movie myself personally, and I might actually buy it premium access, but you know what? It's just kind of disappointing that they didn't match up, because I don't think it's going to get the kind of interest that Mulan did, especially after what happened with Warner Brothers. Okay, here comes down here. Like I said, I'm going to name off a lot of stuff, so you guys go ahead, keep up with me on this. Only Murders in the Building, which with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. The Dropout with Kate McKinnon. Dope Sick with Rosario Dawson and Michael Keaton. 9 Perfect Strangers and The Kardashians are all coming to Hulu. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was renewed for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 seasons.
That's wild to me. I mean, this show has been going on for a while, and I still love it, but 4 more seasons of Always Sunny, a little bit mind-blowing. And that's coming from somebody who really, 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 really loves that intellectual property.
Yeah, it's a great show. I mean, I'm surprised it's been running this long too. Can we step back for a minute though and go to the Kardashians, because that's interesting, because Disney is basically like putting the Kardashians under their banner. So hey kids, we want you to feel good about yourselves, but the Kardashians, like that seems a little weird to me.
It seems a little weird until you saw the ratings that they produced on a weekly basis for E, and they basically kept the E network alive for a long time. Nobody else watches the E network for anything at this point in time. And when you get all your entertainment news from sources like us and everywhere out there in a lot quicker fashion than E network, so they essentially kept the E network alive. Shout out to Caleb Richardson. He didn't dislike Milan, but $30 was a little bit too much. Agreed. Premium access needs to be a lot cheaper, half the price per se. I think that's a good call. I think $15 is a little bit better digestible. But yes, I agree with you, Caleb, that there should be. I didn't hate Milan either. I just didn't think it was worth the $30 investment, and I'm worried that Raya and the Last Dragon will follow suit. But yes, not a whole lot going on with Hulu outside of what I said, with 9 Perfect Strangers with Nicole Kidman and Melissa McCarthy. The Dropout with Kate McKinnon, like I said. Dope Sick with Rosario Dawson and Michael Keaton. And Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Not a whole lot of shows coming to Hulu in the next year, but it is something that's going to tie people over. But again, the point comes where I think Hulu needs to be purchased entirely by Disney and basically absorbed into Disney Plus. It's Always Sunny, we just talked about. And what's coming up on FX and FX on Hulu is The Old Man with Jeff Bridges, who I want to go ahead and give best wishes to, because I know he's fighting a lot of things in his life right now, as far as I think from cancer and cancer treatment. So a lot of prayers are sent to him. American Horror Stories, which is going to be a offshoot of the popular horror series that's already on FX. The American Horror Story, Platform, Reservation Dogs, and Why the Last Man. I know Reservation Dogs is going to be executive produced by Taika Waititi, so obviously that's going to be a lot of interest.
Ooh.
And Platform is going to be done by BJ Novak from The Office, and so these are all shows that are coming to FX on Hulu. There's also in the distant future, a little bit farther away, an Alien series.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Really
a Shogun remake. So yeah, Alien series. I know you guys are very interested, especially you, Josh, about how this is going to take place. Interesting how they said that the Alien series was going to be something that it's, I guess, taking place on Earth near modern times.
Yes.
Okay.
So Noah Hawley has been working on this for a while, I guess, and it was meant to be made in conjunction with whatever Alien film that Ridley Scott currently has in production. I don't know anything about like the storyline, but I mean, I'm hoping, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like Ridley Scott's not going to be revisiting the world of Prometheus, which kind of bums me out.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Prometheus was fantastic. Covenant was like just horrible. I mean, it wasn't horrible; it just wasn't my favorite. But I mean, I really wanted to know like how that turns out, and then where is this new Alien series going to fit into the mythology? Because I'm kind of stoked, and I just don't want it to be disappointing.
Well, hopefully you won't look back outside of your backyard or anything like that and come face to face with a face hugger.
I know,
So-
it's like Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Remember that? It took place on Earth.
Yes. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, I kind of want to jump back for a second. You know, with American Horror Stories coming to FX, I really hope they don't suffer the same fate as the Fear of the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead, right? You know, with the success or lack thereof on the Fear over time. You know, I know American Horror Stories is going to be very popular when it first comes out. I hope it can maintain that. And then Reservation Dogs, really excited about that. I know we kind of didn't, we just talked about it there, just glossing over it quickly, but really excited about that as well. And then, yeah, I mean, guys, this Alien franchise, I'm really looking forward to. Josh, I'm with you. I really wish we could have told the story of Prometheus a little bit further, but yeah, looking forward to this.
Reservation Dogs are going to touch on Native American. It's got a Native American influence with a Native American director at the helm and producer behind it. But again, Taika Waititi is overseeing the project as an executive producer, so it definitely is going to have that type of great influence there. And looking forward to seeing what that's all about when it comes on FX on Hulu. Yes, some things are there on FX, but when you're matching almost show for show with Hulu, I don't know if that's great for FX or if that's bad for Hulu. So I don't know how that is going to go over, but FX on Hulu or Hulu is going to get a lot of input over with all these shows. But yes, the future is looking okay for FX and the Hulu right now. But I think their focus is going to be more with Disney Plus, and as that goes forward, it's going to be harder and harder to see a plethora of shows on both those platforms, Hulu and FX, because of the priority that's going to be made for Disney Plus. Because I'm now going into Disney Plus with, obviously, first and foremost, The Mandalorian. Season 3 is going to drop around Christmas time in 2021, so beware for that. It's going to come out basically a year from now, so it's going to be a little bit of a longer delay. Obviously, with what's going on with coronavirus has slowed things down a bit. Andor, based off the era of Rogue One, just before the events of Rogue One with Diego Luna, coming is 2022. I know there was some footage shown on that. In fact, there was some footage shown a little bit and some not to investors only, and some to the regular public as well. What were your thoughts on Andor? Josh?
Okay, so is this a series or is this
It's
a
series.
movie? Okay. I love the world of Rogue One. I don't know how bad I wanted to like go back to the build up to it. You know, like I felt like I got enough of that build up in, you know, the Star Wars prequels. So I don't know, like I have a problem with prequels in the fact where I already know where they're going. Like I'm not a huge fan of prequels. So I don't know how I feel about this. Like I like the idea of new content in that movie universe, but I'm not too keen on going back to what happened before when I already know where it went.
Marcus, do you have any thoughts on it? Because Rogue One is considered by many to be the best of the new movies that came out of Star Wars. I thought with most of them outside of the Rise of Skywalker, for me, they're like 7.5 movies. So Rise of Skywalker was beneath that. But your thoughts on Andor?
Yeah, this should be a fun series. You know, I'm kind of with Josh in the sense of, you know, it kind of, I wasn't as excited when I first thought about it, but, you know, just jumping back into this, I don't want to call it lore, but into the storyline and kind of giving us more to consume here should be profitable for Disney. I don't know if it's something that I would be doing. You know, it feels like you're double dipping on that entire storyline, and it could be great. It could not go well, and I'm just gonna wait and see how it plays out, man.
Well, Caleb's right. It is being overseen by Tony Gilroy, who directed the original Bourne trilogy. So obviously that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But yes, Andor is coming in 2022. Next thing is the Rangers of the New Republic, which is going to take place right in and around the Mandalorian era. So that's something that I think has been hinted on already when it comes to the actual series. Ahsoka, I think that's the one that people are looking forward to most. Yes, go ahead, Marcus.
No, I was just going to say Rosario Dawson's getting a lot of love from the Disney corporation here. You know,
she's going to be all over the place.
All over the place, and they're keeping it in the family here. You know, they've got what was it with her? Was it Platform or was it Dope? Dopesick
Dopesick, yes,
Yeah.
with her and Michael Keaton.
On the
that's coming
FX.
to FX.
Yeah,
I mean,
FX.
it's coming to Hulu.
Hulu via FX, or is it just Hulu?
No, it's
itself?
coming Hulu.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, they're keeping her under the umbrella here, and it seems like they're really interested in tying her up in the matters of Disney for the foreseeable future, which means we might have a long running Ahsoka Tano TV show coming at us.
Yeah, we do. We
Yeah.
do. Obviously, the episode with her on it was a big success, and they're looking forward to some great things with Ahsoka. Obi-Wan, which is going to take place 10 years after the Revenge of the Sith, with Ian McGregor obviously coming back to the role. Josh, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay,
Hayden Christensen, which has been the talk from everybody, is coming back as Darth Vader. I want to hear your thoughts on Hayden Christensen. Did you need more of him? Were you going to get him?
Here's the thing. All right. Hayden Christensen, to me, I honestly believe that he is a good actor. He was just handed a really bad script that really messed up his career. He like Star Wars Episode 2, and Star Wars Episode 2 is okay. Star Wars Episode 3 was like a showcase of his whining. If you actually go back and count how many times he yells "Padme" during the movie, it's more than Obadiah yelled Tony in Iron Man 1. But I honestly I think that he had a lot of potential, but that those Star Wars films kind of broke his career. And it's just kind of because Jumper was a pretty good movie, but he's only been able to do like B-list movies ever since Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. This is funny to me because like they're like, oh hey, Hayden Christensen's coming back, but he's playing Darth Vader, so you won't know that it's him. We're just letting you know it could possibly not be him, but we're just going to attach his name to the credits. Yeah, it's kind of weird to showcase him and not like showcase him during the show.
Well, it's going to be, well, that's one way to say it. But it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah, I know a lot of people have been just all over the fact that Hayden's coming back in the role of Darth Vader. Rangers of the New Republic, I know Caleb had a little bit to say on that. And that one, I guess, because the fact it might include Gina Carano and the actors that you saw in recent episodes in The Mandalorian. That's going to be very up to date. Basically, that's going to be a test for people's newfound interest in the Star Wars. If they're going to like this when it doesn't have that charismatic lead actor yet, that they haven't announced. They haven't announced exactly who's going to be on it. So we'll see if they're going to be making some additions, or they're going to put a big name star in front of it, like they have obviously with some other series like The Mandalorian with Pedro Pascal, who's done a great job on The Mandalorian. So we'll see with that one. Like you said, Josh, with the Obi-Wan series, I mean, Ian McGregor coming back to the role, he's done a great job, I think, as Obi-Wan Kenobi. One of the few benefits of the prequels of the prequel trilogy. So I'm interested into seeing that. I'm interested in seeing that. Maybe they can go ahead and not necessarily retcon, but basically erase or maybe give better memories of the prequels with an Obi-Wan series. I think basically if Obi-Wan series is good, people will have a better fondness for the prequels out of it. So
I don't disagree there. I feel bad for Ewan McGregor though, tying his horse back to Hayden Christensen one more time. It's one of those things I would be worried about my career moving forward. It already had one impact, and don't want it to make a second appearance. But the fact that they're coming back to him, really looking forward to. And this Obi-Wan series is going to be something really to maybe take the place of The Mandalorian in a few years.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, like, I am excited about the Obi-Wan series. I'll be honest, like, when I got online after the investor meeting happened, I immediately looked at all the Star Wars announcements and had instant anxiety because, like, I am not going to have time to watch all these. Like, I saw Mandalorian, I was like, all right, I'm back into Star Wars. The Jedi Fallen Jedi or whatever was a great, like, game to tie into all the mythology. But then there's so much here that I feel overwhelmed by it.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed because you're going to be seeing 10 series coming up in the Star Wars realm, and also a lot more from Marvel on the way. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But to finish off the Star Wars series, because I know we need to go through this in a little bit quicker fashion, let's go with Star Wars: The Bad Batch, which is a spin-off from the Clone Wars series. I know a lot of people have very great interest in that one because of Clone Wars was such a huge success. Star Wars Visions, which intrigues me because it's going to be dealt with in the anime realm. It's going to be an anime, so I'm looking really forward to Star Wars Visions and seeing the hybrid of Star Wars and anime. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, as well, you got a Lando series, but no Donald Glover announced. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Donald Glover isn't a part of it because he killed it as Lando and was one of the best parts of Solo, I'm going to be very disappointed. I'm just going to be very disappointed.
That'll be a big loss if he's not involved.
Exactly. I think he's just the charisma this man has. He's just a great actor. I think if they don't make him or if they don't back up the Brinks truck and pay him to be Lando, then it's going to be a very disappointing time indeed. The Acolyte, which is going to take place in the final days of the High Republic era, that's coming to Disney Plus, and a Droid Story. That's going to be an animated retelling, an animated series, which includes your two favorite droids and mine, R2-D2 and C-3PO. So a lot of series there for Star Wars. Any thoughts on the sheer amount? I know Josh has already said he's got a lot of anxiety on how he's going to keep up with a Star Wars series. But Marcus, any thoughts on the Star Wars series before we head on?
No, I was just going to say, we've got the next 10 years to look forward to all this content for. If I remember correctly, they were saying this is
It's not 10 years. This is going to be within the next 3 or 4.
Oh, I thought they were saying that all this content was the roadmap for the next 10.
No, this is all like 2022, 2023, and 2024.
That ratchets up the anxiety a lot then. How do you keep up with any of this if you're looking at least 10 bullet points right here, if not more, for everything we just talked about. So, very excited to see all this, but, in a short amount of time, it looks like Disney's really, really, really prepped for the long haul at home with either pandemic conditions or the recovery from.
Well, their goal each year is to bring 100 new items to Disney Plus in the different formats that they have. So each year, so that hopefully they'll go ahead and be able to accomplish that goal, because something you guys and I have talked about is Disney Plus's lack of new content. So definitely going to have to see if that takes place, and they'll go ahead and meet up to those lofty expectations. But also announced from Lucasfilm, and is going to be a Willow series coming in 2022, and Indiana Jones 5, the final adventure for Indiana Jones, coming in July of 2022. I will be sad to see Harrison Ford go. Let me ask you this, Josh. If Indiana Jones 5 is done, the final episode for Harrison Ford, which it should be, because he's going to be approaching 80 here, and not in the not too distant future, should they recast the role and go on to new adventures? I would, personally.
I think so. I mean, I would. He has a son, right? I wouldn't want Shia LaBeouf to do it.
Shia killed it the other day. What was it? A couple months ago in that live reading. He have back to Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
I absolutely killed it.
And he's a great actor, but he's too much of a liability, and we've seen a lot of production halting going on with Indiana Jones, just in general, but with all the stuff, he's in jail constantly, he's in rehab constantly, we don't need any more production setbacks for Indiana Jones. So I think they should keep going with it. Yes, they do. They just need to find somebody who is more reliable with the role.
Go ahead, Mark.
I think I've got somebody for that role. Chris Hemsworth was the first name that popped in my head when we talked about continuing with this franchise. And for some reason, he feels like the right guy to play this role. So maybe the Pop Culture Cosmos should start the campaign to get Chris
I don't know. I think the dude's huge. You realize the guy is 6'5". He's about 300 pounds right now because he's training for the Hulk Hogan role. And
what about Liam?
Ooh. Keeping the family?
It's got to be someone more, because he's supposed to be the everyman type of deal. And Chris Hemsworth is not everyman. The dude's jacked right now. So.
I mean, there's nothing saying he can't slim down a little bit and maybe fit into more of that everyman role.
I guess so.
I mean, these guys go nuts with their weight loss and weight gain and muscle gain all the time. So nothing he can't get down there.
And what if they had a part in the movie where they pass the torch by his son stabbing him and having him fall down
Well,
an chasm.
I would have said Chris Pratt. I know
With that-
Chris Pratt has been thrown around. His name has been thrown around with Indiana Jones before, but I know he was recently canceled for the things that were said and done on social media. So, I don't know if he would still be appreciated there, but I would say Chris Pratt is more for me as far as that's concerned, envisioning in that role. But I know he's been canceled, so we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, Indiana Jones should continue, but the last adventure with Harrison Ford himself is in July 2022. And of course, a Willow series based off the movie from the 80s is going to be taking place with, I think, the lead character in the same role. He's going to be, it's going to be taking place later on, obviously, several years after the events of the original Willow movie, but that's going to be taking place in 2022 as well. There's going to be a series based off the New York Times bestseller Children of Blood and Bone, and Rogue Squadron was the big film that's announced is going to be the next film from Patty Jenkins from the Wonder Woman series. That I'm really excited about. Rogue Squadron. It's not based off the video game, guys, so I want to let you know that for sure. It's based off of her. It's I guess her father's story, as far as I think being a fighter pilot or involved in the service. I think that's going to be the more of the inspiration for this. But your thoughts, guys, on Rogue Squadron being the first film back for Disney in holiday 2023?
I mean, I'm hoping this is a strong rebound. For holiday. Did you say 2023?
2023.
Oh my gosh, that's so far away. But at the same time, I'm just hoping that in that time frame, I can get to leave my house a little more regularly. But yeah, I mean, for a strong rebound, I mean, attaching Patty Jenkins' name to the entire project is going to be a great thing, and I think it'll really push the storyline forward a lot faster.
So yes, definitely looking forward to Rogue Squadron when that drops, and then after that is the movie, that Star Wars movie that they've already said that is in development and writing right now, that Taika Waititi will be directing. That will come out after Rogue Squadron. I think that's a little. Rogue Squadron is more along, I think, as a production right now than what Taika Waititi is, because I think he's still writing it. But Josh, any thoughts on Taika Waititi? I know we've talked about this before, helming a Star Wars film, but I think it gets everybody excited about what he could bring back to the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to come out of that movie. People will come out of that movie wondering like what they just watched. And then eventually they're going to be like, that was pretty awesome.
Caleb Richardson, he said he's excited. Rogue Squadron is going to be a first post episode 9 story. They said in the description it'll focus on a future era of the galaxy. Yeah, it will take place after the events of the 9 movies. I think that's going to be great that they're going to be washing their hands as far as from a movie sense from that era and moving on to a different part of the galaxy per se. So I definitely am looking forward to Rogue Squadron and whatever Taika Waititi has in mind as far as the movies coming up in the not too distant future for the Star Wars series. Moving on.
Did you guys happen to catch Taika's reply on Instagram to him being announced as a feature filmmaker?
No.
Posted a screenshot of the Star Wars Twitter account, tweeting it out. And all it says is, "What? As a longtime fan of Star Wars, I'm so angry about what I'm about to do to ruin it." So, I mean, the man has a sense of humor. He knows that there's a lot of weight on his shoulders at this point.
Well, he's got to be writing it now because he's going to be directing Thor: Love and Thunder here in January when production begins on that. So and also we talked about him being executive producer of Reservation Dogs. So he's obviously got a lot on his plate coming up in the not too distant future, if not now already. But for National Geographic was up next, and they talked about a Cousteau documentary, which I think is long overdue, personally. I think he's one of the iconic, documentary and docuseries owe a lot to Jacques Cousteau as far as it's concerned, following his travels for many, many years. I think that's something that was a necessary thing to happen, so I'm glad to see that happen. There's going to be a 4th installment of Genius featuring Martin Luther King Jr., Secrets of the Whales, which is going to be executive produced by James Cameron, which I know Caleb Richardson talked about as far as James Cameron being also a part of some of the series, of the Alien series. It's going to have an influence on that in the FX series. So he's going to have his influence there as well. And he's obviously doing those little movies that we know that are going to be coming around in the not too distant future again, that are going to go ahead and be part of that, because he's obviously taking care of some big projects himself that Disney didn't announce that. That was very surprising. Why do you think Disney did not announce, Marcus, real quick? Why do you think Disney did not announce James Cameron's biggest series coming to date, Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, which you know he's working on at the moment?
Working on, but there's no foreseeable end to the pandemic. So let's go ahead and just sit on that news and not make people start expecting it like people were expecting Tenet to come out.
Or
Josh?
there's also no foreseeable end to Avatar as well. So, we'll see.
Okay.
Oh boy, can't wait. Hear my excitement on that. But A Real Bug's Life, America the Beautiful. And then speaking of Chris Hemsworth, we just talked about him. He's bulking up for the Hulk Hogan series right now, but he's doing Limitless. And I know there was footage of him surfing as far as concerned for National Geographic series coming up. But Limitless with Chris Hemsworth is coming up in the not too distant future for National Geographic and Disney Plus. And Welcome to Earth with Will Smith. That's the working title. It's not yet a official title, official title. But that's a series that Will Smith is going to be executive producing and working on and appearing in, I believe, as well for National Geographic on Disney Plus. So very interesting to see. They're getting some big names in there as far as it's concerned. So National Geographic putting out, it was kind of like smashed in all these other big studios, and I think that was their intent. But there's no less some big names and big things going on for those that are interested in National Geographic. I think that was also a shot at the Discovery networks banding together to come out, to form Discovery Plus. So I think that was a shot across their bow to say, hey, you know what? We can provide a lot too as far as National Geographic is concerned. All right, coming up next is some of the Disney series, original Disney series. A lot of these are remakes, so slow down with your enthusiasm there. But the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, the series, is coming to Disney Plus. This we already knew about with Emilio Estevez. I know, Josh, you were excited about this. Marcus, any thoughts on the Mighty Ducks Game Changers?
I'm just starting to really long for original content again. Dipping back into the Mighty Ducks franchise, great, but let's do some original series other than something based on a storyline we've already heard.
Yeah, like I love the Mighty Ducks movies. Like as a hockey fan, like I love the Mighty Ducks movies. Always go back to them when I can. But thinking about this, a show where the Mighty Ducks are the villains, like it makes it feel like the first like 3 movies just get canceled out. Like it seems pointless to me.
Caleb Richardson said he thinks because 20th Century Studios didn't get a spotlight at the Investor Day along with Searchlight. Yeah, they only got a passing mention. Both of them, Searchlight and 20th Century, it's got pushed to the curb, pushed to the side. They did give a passing word on it, saying they're making films for Hulu. Yes, but I know they were just giving passing mention. But it's funny because you spend all that money on the name, on the library, and all the content, and you give them nothing more than a passing name in your investments, in your investment meetings. So it just shows exactly what they think of the name of 20th Century and Searchlight. I think they're going to still send projects there. Obviously, they will for the foreseeable future, but it's not necessarily a priority at this time for Disney, and you can tell. And for you, Marcus, since you were so happy about all these remakes that are being done, they're going to throw a few more at you, so get prepared for this Turner and Hooch remake. There's also Hocus Pocus 2 coming. I know a lot of people were excited. You were excited about that on the last one.
Yeah, I am excited about Hocus Pocus 2, and I don't want to throw all the remakes under the bus. It's just, I'm really looking forward to some bigger, grander original content. And I understand that in a year like we had this year, you've got to kind of dig deep and return to some of the storylines that are successful. So I don't want to disparage what they're doing. It's just, man, I'm really looking forward to some really, really, really good original content.
Well, they have a show that they're coming up with, and that they showed some footage of, with Big Shot, Celebration of Girl Power with John Stamos and Yvette Nicole Brown. The Mysterious Benedict Society, that's coming as a series that I believe is from a best-selling line of books. 3 Men and a Baby remake, Zac Efron. Yeah, I know you got to be on the train for that one, Marcus or Josh. Come on, guys. Come on. 2022.
I mean, I do love Zac Efron, so I'm looking forward to that one.
He's a very underrated actor.
Good. I'm glad Josh is on board with me because that's like a guilty pleasure admission there.
Yeah, but real quick, can I go back to the original content you're talking about? It's a shame that Searchlight is getting like the shaft here because like they do make some incredible indie films come out of that, like very original movies come out of that part of the studio. It makes me sad to see that they're not like getting the notoriety they deserve.
Well, Caleb Richardson was right. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. That's something I know one of my daughters was very excited about. I forgot to mention that. I think I deleted the line here, but Percy Jackson's and the Olympians, that's coming out as a series. Looking forward to that. Caleb thinks that's going to be a sleeper hit. It'll be Disney's Harry Potter. I mean, the series itself got mixed reviews, very high on the original movie. Percy Jackson was something that I think a lot of people were trying to get into. It came at a period where everybody wanted to jump on a Harry Potter-like series at the point in time and kind of fell off the wayside after the sequel. But hopefully this will reignite people's interest in the series, Percy Jackson. So hopefully everybody will be able to go ahead and get into that because I kind of liked him myself. But we'll see what happens. Go ahead.
Logan Learman, I think his name is actually supposed to be in this series too, which is kind of cool nod.
It's so funny though. It's the same guy who on the Amazon series Hunters that was dropping all the F-bombs with Al Pacino, and he's going to go back to doing young adult movies. So if you've not seen Hunters yet, you'll see his performance. He's a very good performance, but yes, it was
outstanding performance. Yeah,
but he's going to be going back to Percy. It's going to be like a shock to the two people when he goes back to a somewhat clean format with Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Also, as well, we want to go ahead and mention Three Men and a Baby. Like I said, original movies, biopic movies off of Chris Paul, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Keanan Lowe, who was a local basketball high school coach, I think, that I guess stopped. I remember from the story, stopped a school shooting. So he's going to get a biopic movie, and I'm really happy for that. Children's book adaptation of Flora and Ulysses. Cheaper by the Dozen from the 80s. I think it was that early 90s with Steve Martin. That's going to have a remake with Gabrielle Union. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is going to be animated, and that's something that where they want to tap into because Diary of a Wimpy Kid was a successful movie series, so they're tapping into that in a new fashion with an animated series of that. And then also as well, they're going to be animating Night of the Museum. That's going to become an animated series per se. And then also Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild with Simon Pegg. Ooh, a lot of stuff going there for Disney Plus. I know it's basically a lot of it's retread stuff or basically revised versions of already existing products. I know, Marcus, you're asking for original content, but Josh, do you think this is a lot of safe venturing for Disney at this point in time?
I think it's no. I mean, yes and no. I think it's safe in the fact they're like, oh, these things are established. They've made money. There's a fan base for them, but it's also dangerous in the fact that if you make something that doesn't live up to the expectations of what, the ideas that people have of the originals, that you're treading, you're treading in dangerous territory there.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot more to talk about with Jungle Cruise 2021. That's going to be coming. Jungle Cruise is going to be coming out in 2021. That one's already been done. It's on the shelf. It's waiting to go ahead and be released. That's with The Rock. That's going to be coming out very soon in 2021. A lot of people are looking forward to that because they want to see the backside of water. Lion King live action prequel, The Little Mermaid live action, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, I think with Seth Rogen playing a guest role or a recurring role in it, but he's not going to be the star. I know Adam Sandberg, I think, is going to be one of the either Chip or Dale. That's going to be a live action animated hybrid. Pinocchio is a live action movie coming with Tom Hanks playing Geppetto, I would assume. Peter and Wendy, that's going to be with Jude Law as Captain Hook. Disenchanted, that is coming straight to Disney Plus. That's going to be a sequel to Enchanted with Amy Adams. Sister Act 3 is going to be with Tyler Perry producing and Whoopi Goldberg also producing and starring in it. So that's going to be returned to the Sister Act movies, Sister Act 3. I think those movies are coming to Disney Plus for the most part, or maybe some of them are actually hitting the movie trail. We'll see how that ends up. Also, as well for Disney Plus, I want to go ahead and say there's great series including Baymax, which everybody remembers from Hero 9. That series is coming 2022. Zootopia Plus, which is going to focus in on side characters that were in the Zootopia movie. That's going to be coming 2022. Tiana from Princess and the Frog, she gets her own series in 2022. These are all animated, by the way, these last 3 series. And then Moana, that animated series is coming 2023. Iwaju, based from an African comic book series, that's coming in 2022. Swiss Family Robinson series, that's coming as well to Disney Plus. They just got a whole bunch of stuff as far as it's concerned. They're going to try and flood you with. Is there anything that's going to interest you on there? Caleb, by the way, Caleb Richardson said he thinks Tom Hanks is going to be voicing Pinocchio. I would love to see him as Geppetto. That would be my personal thing. But yes, at this point in time, if he's going to be voicing Pinocchio, that's going to be very interesting as well.
I'll echo you on the Geppetto. I think that's one of the best roles he could fill in that film.
Is he Geppetto or is he Pinocchio?
I hope he's Geppetto. I in my mind he's Geppetto, but I mean, we'll see what happens. Is that news out there?
At his age, he can no longer. He's got to. He's not in his 30s anymore. I mean, he could have voiced Pinocchio back in the day. He might still throw out that Toy Story voice in there and be Pinocchio. So you never know. Again, it's not. I'm not sure which way it's confirmed, but yeah, it's something that we'll definitely have to look at. Josh, any interest on all these movies and series coming to Disney Plus?
Honestly, not particularly. The Pinocchio one does look okay. Like I love the fact that Pinocchio is now coming out to haunt a entirely new generation of children.
That movie, because it has Tom Hanks, may actually hit the. I'm assuming that will hit the big screen. I'm assuming that will hit the big screen.
If he's for sure. But I mean, can we just for a minute appreciate how terrifying Pinocchio was when you were a kid? It was pretty terrifying.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was pretty terrifying. One of those classic Disney moments where it horrified everyone at that point in time. But yes, they got away with a G rating on it. Go ahead, Marcus.
I was just going to say, I'm looking forward to Zootopia Plus just because I did enjoy some of the characters from the movies. And it's just like, we didn't get enough time on screen with some of these characters. So the fact that it's going to be makeup of all the side characters that we didn't really get to see that much on the big screen.
But how much more can you see of Sloth, really? That was awesome for what it was, but Sloth is like a scene stealer, but come on. Devoting any more time to Sloth.
I think the production cost would be very low on a Sloth show because it'd be like the same frame for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the kids love the Sloth, and there's a few other characters that I think really will do well in a children's show. So,
well, I'll tell you what, there's so much more to talk about. We haven't even gotten to the Marvel yet. So before we go ahead and hit Marvel, we got to go ahead and take care of Pixar. Starts off with Encanto. Encanto, I think, is coming in 2021. Pixar popcorn shorts. Disney Animation does Encanto. Encanto for Disney Animation. That's, I believe, coming in late 2021. Pixar popcorn is going to be Pixar popcorn. That's going to be shorts. That's going to be starting up here, I believe, as early as January. So look out for that. Doug Days. That's going to be a series for fall 2021. I think Encanto is Pixar. Encanto from Pixar. That's going to be a movie coming in 2021. Cars spin-off series is 2022. That's something I'm not excited for at all because I didn't like the Cars movies very much, but I know a lot of younger kids will really enjoy that. Doug Days from Up. That's going to be fall of 2021. Win or Lose, which is an original Pixar series, which is an original IP for them, based off of, I think, a middle school co-ed baseball team, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be in 2023. Luca, based off, I think, from the Italian heritage. That's going to be a Luca movie. That's going to be coming in June 2021. Turning Red movie. That's going to be March 2022. And Lightyear, based off the movie, which was the premise for the toy Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Story series. This takes place before. This is what influenced the toy, the movie per se. This is going to be voiced by Chris Evans in the role of Lightyear. So I want to hear your thoughts on that with Chris Evans in the role of Lightyear coming up. I think that's going to be, as I said, as I stated, June 2022 in Lightyear for Pixar.
Definitely not original content, but it's an interesting take on the storyline that is Buzz Lightyear. You know, making a story about the man that the toy is made off of is definitely a couple layers deep. It feels like we're doing a little bit of a Inception thing here, but really kind of looking forward to this. And just the reaction that I've seen thus far has been pretty positive. I don't know about you guys, but Buzz Lightyear is a big fan, or not a big fan, but a big name for my youth years. So I was excited to see this one.
Absolutely. So it's something that definitely we're looking forward to. I cannot wait for it. And Caleb Richardson is also looking forward to Zootopia Plus because it dealt with heavy themes like police brutality and systemic racism, but in a new and fresh way. I couldn't agree with you more how much I enjoyed that film. I thought it was one of the best of the year that came out. So I agree with you on that. So we go from the Chris Evans as Lightyear to end Pixar's. So we finally got over to Kevin Feige, and I think what a lot of people were really, truly waiting for, although the Star Wars stuff got a lot of people excited, I think a lot of people were waiting to see what Kevin Feige will pull out of his hat. So he pulled a lot out of his hat, stuff that we didn't even know about. So guys, hang on for this. Starts off with the stuff that we already know about, like WandaVision coming next month on the 15th, starting that series. Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming March of 2021. Loki. We got to see finally some footage from not only Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but Loki. Your thoughts on Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Josh?
I mean, I'm excited. I saw the trailer for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, it has all the elements that we've come to know and love from those two characters. You know, it has the big action scenes. It's got the it has a, what would you call it? Like the Winter Soldier has his like groove back. It feels like by watching those trailers. You know, the Falcon has never been like my absolute favorite character, but they've done a great job of developing him and seeing the dynamic. I've always loved the dynamic between him and Bucky, and just seeing like how they've grown. Their characters have grown and been developed over the course of the movies, and now we get to see it more isolated, and I'm really excited about that.
Marcus, any thoughts on it?
Sorry, I was on mute there for a second. No, just looking forward to the rollout of this movie and seeing how it's received. It's something that, you know, I think we've been talking about for a while.
Series, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, the series. Something we've been talking about here, and looking forward to seeing what happens. So.
They're both very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out and how they're going to go ahead and develop the MCU through those two series. That is Falcon and Winter Soldier coming in March and Loki coming in May of next year. The What If series is very interesting, not necessarily because it's going to expand anything in the MCU, but all the possibilities of what they created for the What If series coming in summer of 2021. Then we get into the movies after what was described by everybody that was there. What was described by Kevin Feige. Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, that's going to be coming, July 9th, 2021. Looking forward to that. No footage shown. Was kind of disappointed by that, but Shang-Chi is coming in July. Have a feeling they're going to be showing off something in the not too distant future of that. Miss Marvel series was basically they announced the lead actress for the role of Miss Marvel. So she was obviously very excited when she got the news. It's a brand new actress to the scene, and she's also going to be a part of Captain Marvel 2, which is already in some stage of development at this point in time. Eternals, they talked about that coming in November 2021, and still we haven't seen a thing from that movie, which I was kind of disappointed as well, because I know that movie they've got already basically on the shelf, sitting, waiting to go ahead and be played. That's another movie that's been sitting for a while. So I'm trying to understand why they haven't shown any footage of that. Maybe because, it's not coming out for another 11 months. So we'll see what happens there going forward with the Eternals. Coming up after that, they talked about, of course, the Hawkeye series, which is being filmed right now, I think in New York, if I'm not mistaken, with obviously Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld is going to be playing the role of Kate Bishop. She-Hulk was announced. Of course, that was something that was already expected, but Tim Roth and Mark Ruffalo. Tim Roth as the Abomination and Mark Ruffalo appearing alongside in roles, guest starring, or in case of Tim Roth, could be a little bit longer. Mark Ruffalo is going to be making an appearance to support She-Hulk, and this is something I think that's going to be very interesting. Could we see She-Hulk along with Daredevil in Spider-Man 3? That's something to be talked about since they're both attorneys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like Kevin Feige's like nods to Daredevil, and like there's been some like subtle nods towards like Charlie Cox's Daredevil. You know, a lot of people he was asked about that after Kevin Feige talked about it, and he said he has no comment. So it makes me wonder. Could be cool to have him come back. I really enjoyed that iteration of Daredevil. Thought it was great.
Well, I know the invitations for us are coming soon for Spider-Man 3 because they seemingly are inviting everyone else. But then again, I touched on that on Friday's show. It's so funny because all the different elements of that, because of the Spider-Verse being blown up and the multiverse exploding, and how it was mentioned that the Spider-Man movie is going to intertwine with the multiverse in that aspect. And that was actually mentioned during the Disney's investors meeting. There's going to be something that we talk about here, Moon Knight, but Oscar Isaac, even though in all the trade papers, Oscar Isaac was confirmed as playing Moon Knight, that was very concerning that his name was not dropped on the Moon Knight series in the Disney investor meeting. But even though Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, all the reliable trade sources had already named that Oscar Isaac was already being bandied about and confirmed as Moon Knight. So I want to hear your thoughts on Moon Knight with no Oscar Isaac attached as of yet.
I mean, it's very early in the show's production still. I mean, I'm sure Oscar Isaac is going to play the part. He's already like talked about it. So I mean, I don't have any reason to doubt he won't play it unless there are like some last minute contract snags. But you know, there's another show that I'm pretty excited about because he's kind of like the I don't know, minor league hero of the Marvel universe. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do with them.
I'm kind of excited as well. It's going to be very interesting how this plays out for Moon Knight and Oscar Isaac. If he's still attached, will he be officially announced? We'll wait and see. But that's something to look forward to with the Moon Knight series coming in the not too distant future. I think 2023 is going to be the start date for that. Maybe 2022. We'll see what happens there. Secret Invasion series. Now, this was something that we had been talked about, a Nick Fury series, but we didn't know what it was going to involve. That had been heavily rumored. It's going to be something that I think is going to be very interesting to see. So I want to hear your thoughts, Marcus, on Secret Invasion with Ben Mendelsohn and Samuel L. Jackson, which I'm excited. He's going to play Nick Fury. Anytime he plays Nick Fury, it just really just enhances the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It does, and this is one of those ones that you know, just having him back along brings a lot of credibility to the project alone. I think just having his name tied to it. So you know, it's something that I think it's gonna bring in a whole bunch of viewership back to back to Marvel. Not like they've lost anyways, but this is gonna be a fun series here. So looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to it as well. The Secret Invasion series, which I think got one of my other daughters excited about that as well. So
what's? Oh, sorry. I mean, what? I don't know about you guys, but like, this is an event series, right? So I mean, I'm just curious, like, if this is going to go the same way as Civil War and really like not be tied into the comics at all.
Well, they're going to be looking at those who have shapeshifted and become a part of the society in several important areas. Let's say like politics, law enforcement, government, things of that nature. They're going to go after them because they're doing nefarious things. It's a small group of Skrulls that are doing some nefarious things, I think, and that's what Ben Mendelsohn and Samuel L. Jackson will be doing and going after. I think that's the premise of it, from what I understand. So.
Yeah, because the original comic books it was just like an 8-issue run, right? Yeah, and then they just had a couple tie-in books or other movies or a couple tie-in comic books.
Yeah, they all had like 2 or 3 issues tied into it. But it was interesting because Captain Marvel flipped it, right? Is the Skrull and the Skrulls and the who else? The Chitauri? No, I don't remember who the other side was, but I mean the Skrulls were basically made into the good guys in Captain Marvel, so that was kind of a weird switch up.
Absolutely. So it's going to be something very interesting to see. The Secret Invasion. It's a secret, but it's a secret invasion That's going to be coming in the not too distant future with Samuel L. Jackson and Tim Mendelsohn reprising their roles. An Ironheart series. Didn't go too much into detail on that, but an Ironheart series is coming as well to Disney Plus. And after that, also was announced Armor Wars, which was announced with War Machine, Don Cheadle, taking up and leading this series. It's going to be something that was described as if Tony Stark's worst fears were found, that basically a lot of Stark industry tech got into the wrong hands, and that War Machine, Don Cheadle, in order to honor memory of his friend, goes after these individuals, these organizations that have all the stolen Stark tech. So I think that's going to be the premise of Armor Wars. Your thoughts on Armor Wars? Didn't sound like you see too enthused, but I love Don Cheadle anytime I can go ahead and see him on screen.
Yeah, it feels weird, bringing him back. They must have backed that the Brinks truck up to his house and made sure they dumped all that money out to get him back tied to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, no, and honestly, him as Rhodey was my favorite rendition. I know doesn't carry a lot of weight with a lot of the fan base, but I really enjoyed him. So bringing him back is something that's going to be fun to see.
So again, we've got a lot of stuff going on when it comes to Marvel series that weren't announced already. So that's very interesting. A Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Are you ready?
I am.
Gosh, I know Marcus is. So are you ready for a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special? And do you think they'll poke fun at the Star Wars holiday special while doing so?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, this feels like it's primed to make fun of the Star Wars holiday special.
Oh,
will I watch it? Yes, I will watch it.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what kind of, like, is it a show? Is it like a movie film or a TV film? Like, it's so mysterious.
They're going to be filming it during the process of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So it'll just probably be some extra shooting that they'll be doing. Could be like a 90-minute mini movie or something, about 90-minute show, 90-minute movie or something like that. Maybe an hour. Who knows what's going to end up being, but it's going to be something I think they're going to poke a lot of fun at. I think it's going to be a lot better and get a lot more well reception than the Star Wars holiday special. And I think that's the point. But look for the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special in Christmas of 2022. I Am Groot animated shorts. That's also going to be coming in a period of time to Disney Plus. Look for that. Thor Love and Thunder is, again, like I said, going to be starting production in January. And that has got a release date of May 6th of 2022. They talked a little bit about reminding us about Blade with Mahershala Ali, the excellent actor. Looking forward to a revision of Blade. Would love Wesley Snipes. As again, we've talked about this, Josh and Marcus. I've talked about this before about the Handler being played by Wesley Snipes. I think that would be an awesome way to go ahead and honor him, because Wesley Snipes is still very active in the Hollywood community. So definitely would be a great thing to see him play that role of the Handler for Blade, but we'll wait and see on that one. Ant-Man and the Wasp, that's going to be called Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and I think they confirmed Jonathan Majors playing the role of Kane the Conqueror. I think my question is, Marcus, do you think Kane the Conqueror will make an appearance at some earlier point in time before Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, or is he going to be debuting there? Because there's a lot of time variance things that are going on, especially in Loki.
Yeah, this is I think the storyline. I'm trying to think through this. Would the storyline dictate he has to show up before, or at least make an appearance at some point, right? Whether that's a full-on, 10-minute appearance or just a quick blip on screen at the end of a movie. I'm going to lean more heavily towards he's going to show up at the latter there. So
there you go. We'll wait and see on that one. Once again, that's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Black Panther 2. They will not recast Black Panther. I think that was the obvious thing that they should do, and the most respectful thing that they should do is not recast that. Recast the role for Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace. Just basically something that they should have done and said the whole time, and I'm glad that they went ahead and confirmed that and reiterated that. Fantastic Four was the one movie I think a lot of people were really surprised at. Obviously it's something that they had talked about or been rumored, but they finally said that it is now going to be a part of the MCU, that is officially part of the MCU. They haven't mentioned anything X-Men yet, Josh, but they did mention Fantastic Four with John Watts, who directed the recent Spider-Man films, at the helm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this. Like, I had high hopes for the Josh Trank Fantastic Four, and they ended up being incredibly disappointing. It makes sense. Like, Fantastic Four, honestly, like, had Marvel and Disney owned it way back when, it's one of the foundational films. Like, they're the foundational family of Marvel, and that should have been done a long time ago. So I'm just hoping that like it's done in a way that really incorporates them into what's already been established with the MCU. And on the subject of X-Men, yeah, I was kind of hoping to see something from them, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure they'll make some more announcements in the coming months.
And we already talked about in recent weeks about Deadpool 3 signing up the Bob's Burgers writers. So they're already starting something up there, but they didn't mention that also in Disney Investors Day 2020. So it's kind of disappointed by that or a surprise appearance by Ryan Reynolds per se. But yes, we're going to go ahead and finish up here in a few minutes. But it's a great time with Disney Investors Day 2020. And I'll tell you what, if you have any thoughts, please, like Caleb Richardson, much props to you for your entire comments the whole way. I'm going to go ahead and put this on Wednesday as an entirety, whole thing, because I got to go ahead and spend the time breaking down some of it for the Monday show. But we're going to go ahead and go to the break here in a sec, and we're going to come back with the folks from Mass Effect Adventum. That's Mass Effect Adventum. Got to catch that podcast. Cannot thank enough for everyone who was basically a part of it. And I want to go ahead and say, coming up next on the show, we have the folks from Mass Effect Adventum coming up. That is going to be coming up here in a sec. I want to thank so much again of Bert Jennings, Naeem Stewart, and Emily Jacobson from Mass Effect Adventum. They're coming up next right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. All right, and we're back with the show. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you, too. We're here to close out the Pop Culture Cosmos for this week. Want to thank so much everyone that stopped by from Mass Effect Adventum, Bert Jennings, Naeem Stewart, and Emily Jacobson. Thank you so much for going ahead and being part of the broadcast today. And go ahead and check out your awesome show, Mass Effect Adventum, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're into a tabletop RPG adventure, there's no better place to go. Even our podcasts are pretty darn good as well, but Mass Effect Adventum, they really got it down pat, so you want to go ahead and check them out. One of the nominated shows for the best independent podcast of 2020. That's available wherever you get your podcasts. But before we head on out, guys, I know the Game Awards just recently happened, and Marcus and I were detailing it on the air as live as it was happening on the Friday show. That was really cool to update you. But Josh, the sound I want to hear from you is you patting yourself on the back because, my gosh, man, you called it. The safe pick was the right one. I mean, the odds were heavy on The Last of Us Part 2, and The Last of Us Part 2 won again.
Yeah, it was a safe pick, but I mean, look at 2020 critics right now, right? The Last of Us Part 2 hit every single checkbox. It hit every single box that a critic would say would make a good story, make a good game, make this or this, right? So it does not surprise me that Last of Us Part 2 won. I still have not played the game, but it's what really kind of excites me about is the fact that apparently people don't hate narrative games as much as everyone says they do. So that's kind of cool.
No, only the production companies and the developers and the people that distribute the games as well. They're the ones that were down on it. The people out there, they truly love a great narrative, and I do as well. So The Last of Us Part 2 obviously was the big winner, winning several awards, including Game of the Year and also Director of the Year for the entire series for the game itself. So kudos to Naughty Dog once again. That's another one on the shelf for them. More awards going on there. But before we head on out, Marcus and Josh, I want to go ahead and hit you up with this. There were some announcements, and the big ones that were made, the trailer announcements that were made, were Dragon Age 4. Got to look at that. Also as well, the Perfect Dark is going to be remade again. And, of course, Mass Effect, we got to look at that. And before we go and get into Mass Effect, and again, this has been almost like a back half Mass Effect episode here, I want to go ahead and hit you up with Dragon Age 4. Your thoughts, Marcus, on Dragon Age 4?
Really going to be a fun game to see develop, and I mean the announcement itself brought a lot of energy. So, I mean, Gerald, where are you at with this one? I think this is going to be a must buy.
I'm interested to see. It's got the. I think basically with what was said on it in my interview with the awesome folks from Mass Effect Adventum, I think what was said on it was probably the best way to say this right now. I mean, Emily Jacobson said it best. This is the litmus test for BioWare. If they're going to go ahead and proceed forward, and if they're going to go ahead and get the full blessing from fans out there on the next Mass Effect, Dragon Age 4 has got to kill it. It's got to kill it because they've had 2 bombs in a row, and they've got to go ahead and kill it now. And Dragon Age Inquisition was a big hit for them, and it was a big critical hit for them, and they got to go ahead and kill it now. It's something that I'm hoping that they'll be able to go ahead and develop with the story. I would love to see some type of multiplayer interaction with this game, but we'll wait and see. Just a great narrative, I think, Josh, would work this time around.
They've tried the multiplayer thing in those types of games before, and it didn't really work out so well. So, I mean, it would have to be something that really just blew people away for it to be a successful component for the game.
So they'll probably just go safe and steady. I think.
Yeah, so I mean, if I were them, I would put all my focus into the narrative because that is what is really going to save the ship.
Marcus, any thoughts on the Perfect Dark remake or the Perfect Dark episode coming out, like with all the, I guess what I saw was all these natural disasters taking place all over the earth and whatnot. And she's working with a corporation, and it's kind of like a weird storyline that's going on. So I want to hear your thoughts on this Perfect Dark reimagining.
I actually missed out on the announcement for Perfect Dark reimagining, but this is going to be one of those things that I'm looking forward to looking into this week, and maybe I can get back to you guys next Friday.
All right. Josh, did you happen to see the Perfect Dark reimagining?
I did. I've never been like a huge fan of these games, but like I'm intrigued now because like much like Ninja Theory's take on DMC, like it took a very dark concept and made it seem really gritty. And so I'm really curious about it. Like it is something I do want to play.
Well, the Perfect Dark series took a turn for the worse because it was supposed to be the premier game at the launch of the Xbox 360. And I guess there was such a mass disappointment from gamers on it that they decided not to go back into it for a long, long time. I don't know if Rare is attached to this or not, but it's nice to see that Perfect Dark. We'll find out if Rare is involved with it, but it's nice to see that Perfect Dark is going to get some love once again. Hopefully it'll be better this time around with a reimagining of it. And last but not least, we'll cover this right now, and that is the official announcement, even though it was already alluded to on N7 Day, was the official announcement and trailer for Mass Effect. So Marcus, before Josh and I, who have talked about this ad nauseum, I want to go ahead and hear your thoughts on Mass Effect, which appears to have I love the shot, first off, of having both the Andromeda and the Milky Way involved, which had basically the old series, the trilogy that became famous, and then the Mass Effect Andromeda game. It involved both in the beginning, but at the end, it focused more on Tiara. Focused more on characters that we're more familiar with in the Mass Effect trilogy. So if it's going to lean on something, it looks like it's going to lean more on the trilogy that is known much more, is much more known and much more beloved.
Yeah, I'm glad they're going to lean on the trilogy heavily. I'm really excited to see where the cinematic, kind of the cinematic direction of this game goes. It's setting the stage for a whole bunch of great, visuals and landscapes, especially in the new generation or the new console generation. So help, please, folks, help. Get me a PS5 so that we can, by the time this gets out, I at least have one we can start playing on it.
Well, people are stealing them off of delivery trucks, so I don't know. It's going to be tough on that. But Josh, this is it, man. It's finally been officially announced. The trailer was there. And again, at the very end, it shows Liara climbing up this hill with the Reapers already destroyed in the background, climbing up the snowy hill to find and uncover N7 right there for you. So could we be seeing a return of Shepard back in the fold once again?
So yes, it would be awesome to see a return of Shepard, but like what excites me the most about this is the fact that like they are acknowledging the fact that the original trilogy of games existed, which is something they didn't really do in Andromeda. So that excites me about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm excited for as well. That's Mass Effect. It's a truly great adventure I'm hoping for. Again, it looks like more and more that it's going to be taking place, at least a good percentage of it per se, in the Milky Way, in the universe that we know of with the Mass Effect trilogy that was such a great success for them. Whether or not they'll touch on the Andromeda part of it, that we'll wait and see. Maybe as DLC, maybe as additional storytelling. I'm not so sure, but they did showcase the Andromeda Galaxy in the beginning of the actual trailer, so it's nice how they paid at least some type of kudos, even though the Mass Effect Andromeda obviously did not turn out as well as they had hoped. But we're looking forward to Mass Effect, the game, coming in 2, 3, 4 years down the line. We'll see how long that's going to happen. Hopefully, it won't have the same kind of turnaround that we saw from Cyberpunk 2077, which was originally announced in 2012 and just came out. And you see that it has a lot of bugs with it already. And a lot of people upset with that, especially if you've got a PS4 or Xbox One. But again, touching on all the great things that are there. If you have any thoughts on anything that went on with the Game Awards, we'd love to hear your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, or anything that went on in the Disney investors meeting, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, Marcus had to run. We talked so much about Disney's Investors Day. He had to run, and I do want to thank him for stopping by. And you will see him and hear him again on Thursday on this Friday's episode of the PCC Multiverse. But Josh, so much to talk about. In fact, we went way over our deadline on what we were going to do. So I'm going to have to put this entire Disney Investors Day conversation in and of itself in a whole context. I'm going to go ahead. If anybody out there wants to listen to it, it'll be coming up on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel, wherever you get your podcast, on Wednesday. So we're just going to go ahead on Monday's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos and touch on the best of, so to speak. So I'll go ahead and take snippets of it. But any last thoughts on the way out?
Yeah, I got two actually. One from the Game Awards, Ghosts and Goblins coming back. Really excited about that. With Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection coming out on the Switch in February. Also, for comic book fans, now that we're on the subject of Marvel, if you get a chance, check out Spider-Man Bloodlines. It's a Spider-Man story that started back in February, and it just ended last week. And it's written by J.J. Abrams and his son. Really, really great story about Spider-Man's son taking up the mantle of Spider-Man. Really cool. Check it out.
Really cool indeed. And I do want to go ahead and thank you and Marcus for sticking around so long, discussing as much as we could, the Disney's Investors Day. But basically, if you're a fan of the Disney properties, you're going to get a lot thrown at you in the next 3-4 years. So I know you're looking forward to it, as am I. There's so much that they didn't announce. And that's the scary part, is that not only was all the stuff coming at you right there, but there's so much more coming to Disney Plus, Hulu, FX, and of course, a movie theater near you in the not too distant future from Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, and so much more. So I know Josh and I and Marcus and I are looking forward to it. So Josh, Marcus, and I want to thank you so much for stopping by and listening. I want to thank so much for all the great comments that were part of this show today. And if you have any questions, please hit us up, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. So for Marcus de la Garza and for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great